So what are the clear and obvious signs that your twin flame is thinking about you? So I'm going to list off those signs in just a moment here at the very beginning of this video. We're going to do that very first. But I just want to say that many of the signs that I'm going to talk about with you today are so obvious that you might actually think, well, why are you even making a video about this? But on the other hand, that's a good thing because they're so obvious that they're easy to spot. But what I really want to talk about with you for most of this video today is how you can actually get the signs to start happening. How can you actually get your twin flame to start thinking about you? Wouldn't that be nice to know? So that you can get the signs. All right, so what are the signs? Number one, you're going to experience this intuitive knowing that they're thinking about you or they're going to be coming back or something like that. And your mind might actually be questioning. There could be doubt going on, while at the same time there is this inner knowing, like you just know they're thinking about you or you just know they're going to be coming back. And then your brain starts going, well, how do you know that? Are you sure about that? Right? Kind of like that. And that's normal. The mind is going to doubt intuition. That's perfectly normal at the beginning of your spiritual awakening. Okay, sign number two, you're going to see your twin flame opening back up to you. So for example, if they had you blocked, they'll unblock you and contact you. They might even start making some love confessions or sending you selfies or some of these kinds of exciting things, right? If they have always been kind of distant and cold and just kind of keeping you at an arm's length kind of thing, you're going to see that kind of winding down and they're going to be more open to you and they're going to be warmer and they're going to be maybe even flirtatious. So you're just going to kind of see a shift in the direction where they're going to want to have more contact with you and be closer to you. All right, so that's the second sign, is your twin flame is opening back up. Number three, they're going to call you. Number four, they're going to text you. Number five, they're just going to tell you. That's why this video is called The Obvious Signs. And they should be pretty easy to spot. Now, some of the other things that we see on the internet when we're looking around for signs about your twin flame, when people are talking about this, how can I tell my twin flame is thinking about me? Usually what you're going to see is people saying things like, well, you're going to see numbers, or you're going to see their name everywhere, or maybe you'll see people driving the exact same kind of car around, or just something that reminds you of them, right? You're going to start seeing these things around a lot. And those aren't necessarily signs that they are thinking about you. What's really going on is those are signs that you're thinking about them. And, you know, let's face it, everybody kind of knows how the law of attraction works, right? That's why when you're seeing those numbers and things, it doesn't really seem like your twin flame is perhaps changing any of their behaviors the more that you see those numbers and their name and stuff. The obsessive thinking and the pain that you're experiencing, it just kind of churns on, it just kind of drags on, and your twin flame hasn't really changed their behavior, but still you're seeing all these numbers and you're seeing their name and you're seeing things that remind you of them. Why is that happening? It's because you're thinking about them. And we already know that's how the law of attraction works. Now, when you meet your twin flame, the obsessive thinking, there is a metaphysical activation that takes place at the level of the mind, body, mind, soul. Okay, and we'll be discussing that in this video. And it triggers that obsessive thinking. And so you're sending all of those thoughts out into the universe, and the universe is just echoing that back to you. That's the law of attraction. So this video is, again, specifically, how would you know if they are thinking about you for sure, not am I thinking about them? And so I just wanted to clear up that confusion. Again, that's just kind of something that you see out there when people talk about this topic. And it can be very confusing. So let's talk about how to get them to start thinking about you. Isn't that exciting? Now, so that you can get the signs, and obviously, again, the signs, a lot of them are, they're going to start talking to you, right? They will start talking to you and telling you that they are thinking of you. And then, you know, interestingly, before those things happen, right? So signs 2 through 5, those 4 signs, the very first sign is the intuitive knowing. I put that sign first for a reason, because usually that's what's going to happen, and then you're going to see the rest of the signs. And that's really the best indicator, the intuitive knowing. And of course, there's the doubt also, and we're going to discuss why the doubt is taking place along with the intuitive knowing. We're going to spend a bit of time talking about that today, because that's really your best indicator, is the intuitive knowing. So getting your twin flame to think about you, well, that sounds like magic. How does that work? Well, here's the thing, guys. It's not really magic. It's just technology that we haven't really explained yet or understood yet, or at least you haven't, right? This is science that is being openly discussed today. More and more we see it. People starting to not be afraid to talk about these things, like why is there telepathy? Is there life after death? What is the soul? What is the mind? You know, how does like Reiki healing work, for example, that kind of metaphysical energy, that astral projection, these types of things, it's not really considered taboo anymore. And people are starting to wake up to the fact that, no, these are real phenomenon, and we're not afraid to have a discussion about it anymore, including in a very validating and scientific way. And that's a good thing, because these are real phenomenon. And if they are real phenomenon, then there must be a way for us to explain them, right? That's basically science in a nutshell. So if I took this cell phone with me on a time machine, and I went back 220 years approximately, and I started showing it around, I'm shooting this video on a cell phone, an old cell phone that I have. I show the cell phone around to people around in that time period. Most of the people are going to say it's some kind of magic, right? And a lot of people might even accuse me of being a witch, right? Now, let's say that happens, and then I'm walking around and I run into old Benjamin Franklin. Now, Benjamin Franklin was a scientist, right? Many of the people in that time period couldn't even read, let alone have even a basic understanding of what science is conceptually. But Benjamin Franklin did. Not to put him above other people, but that was just kind of the way it was back then. It's not good or bad. That's just what was going on. That's the way it was. Benjamin Franklin was a scientist. He's going to look at the cell phone and he's going to say, it's not magic, everybody. I understand why you would say that, but it's really not. It's just some kind of futuristic technology that we haven't figured out yet. Right. And so are you. Remember, you and your twin flame are the same soul. That's what you see all the time on the internet. It's a soul that like split in two, or we're the same soul, or something like that. And it's very, very simple. Everybody knows that the soul incarnates and reincarnates and deincarnates, right? We get that. At least you watching, I would assume you have heard about that. You've wondered, is that true? How does that work? Or you do believe that. I think most of you watching probably do recognize that that is true. Past lives, you know, those kinds of things. Well, your twin flame is just another incarnation of your soul. That's all that's going on, guys. Because of the emotions that this person brings up in you at the beginning, in kind of that bubble love phase at the beginning with your twin flame, what happens is a lot of people mistakenly in the online community, they attach a lot of romanticism to twin flames. And I'm not saying that's bad. That's just what's going on. That I see people doing that. And it's very easy to do that. I did it too at the beginning, guys. I'm no different. And it took me several months to kind of let go of a lot of that stuff. And when I let go of a lot of that stuff, that's when I actually got my twin flame to come back. And I'm not saying that we weren't romantic together after that. It was that instead of focusing on the flighty kind of woo-woo spiritualism and the romantic stuff, I kind of switched my focus to more of a distilled and a scientific approach with my twin flame. And that's when she came back. She tracked me down. She tried to send me flowers one time, begging me to talk to her again, right? Chasing me for a change. And all I did was use my science-based approach, which I'm going to share with you right now. So what are twin flames? Well, that's very simple. Let's start by talking about you. You are a three-part triune being: body, mind, soul. Body, mind, soul. Okay, let's talk about these components to get a better understanding of what's going on with you and your twin flame. So the body, we're pretty clear about what the body is. The mind, okay, what's up with the mind? Well, the mind is metaphysical, okay? And I think a better, perhaps, label for that component of the three-part triune being is astral body. So chakras, telepathy, Reiki energy, the mind, thought, emotions, kind of that whole ball of wax. That's the astral body, right? And it works on a system of duality. And so this is where the ancient spiritual teaching about yin and yang came from, right? Yin and yang, or from the Bible, the alpha and the omega. That's kind of how our whole universe functions, actually. And as a matter of fact, none other than Albert Einstein, he coined the term relativity to describe a fundamental functionality of our universe, both physical and energy, right? So gravity or magnetism, or the strong nuclear force or the weak nuclear force, or whatever, energy, and then actual physical matter, those two things, how those things function. And even the body, you could say, of course, is duality, because the physical body is made out of atoms, positive protons, negative electrons, and of course there are neutral neutrons, which, by the way, interestingly, when you split an atom and release neutrons, neutrons convert, in quotation marks, from a particle to pure energy. That's basically how that works. There's more to it than that. I'm just kind of dumbing it down to keep things simple and quick for this video, but that's sort of what's going on with neutrons. Well, anyway, this is important to understand. I want to deprogram you from kind of the flighty, woo-woo, new agey, pop culture-y spiritual message on the internet about twin flames. And I'm not dogging that. I'm not criticizing that. I'm not saying that's bad, but it's not really helping you on your twin flame journey. And I want to give you something concrete, something tangible, something that's rooted in something that we can point our finger to and say is actually realistic. And what better way to do that than science? So the universe is duality. It works on a system of duality, or as Albert Einstein called it, relativity, the opposites, just like yin and yang. And that's how the astral body works, or the mind, right? The mind is actually part of the astral body. It's duality. There's up and down, there's more and less, there's past and future, there's light and dark, duality, relativity, you know, kind of the same thing, okay? The alpha and the omega, again, yin and yang, that's kind of where those spiritual principles came from. So that's the mind in a nutshell. This is where telepathy comes in, thought, emotion, those types of things, metaphysical energy, those types of sciences. Okay, last but not least, the soul. Now the soul basically is the true self, and there's more to it than I'm going to explain in this quick video. I don't want to drag this video on forever and ever, but at its very core, fundamentally, the soul is pure consciousness. That's really all it is. It is the self. Okay, it's the true self. So just to give you an idea of what that's all about, if you're new to this, if you just met your twin flame, you don't know what the hell is going on, you're trying to figure out what this is all about, this is your spiritual journey, guys. You met your soul in another body. Every time you see that person, I want you to tell yourself, that's me. That's another incarnation of my soul. That's my soul having another experience. And that's why they run and maybe you're thinking your twin flame was cruel. They did bad things. They said bad things. They're running away. They're lying. They broke promises. Maybe not. Maybe the running and chasing actually wasn't, it was unpleasant, but you understood their reasons for running. I don't know. Everybody's story is different, but what I'm addressing right now is sometimes people, when they hear me say, this is your soul in another body, they go, well, Kurt, if they're my soul in another body, why were they so cold? Why would they do that to me if they were my soul? Exactly. It's because you're approaching this through the mind, and I'm going to get to that in a second. The mind is duality. The mind is opposition. The mind is, I'm me and you're you, and I don't like what you're doing. That's ego, right? I don't like what you're doing. I'm expecting you to act a certain way, and you're not acting the way I think you should. And when you approach your twin flame through the ego, through the mind, again, that's the astral body, body, mind, soul. Astral body is the mind. When you approach the connection with this person through the mind, They run, and we're going to talk more about that in just a second. But let's wrap this up with your soul. The soul is non-duality, guys. It's pure consciousness, okay? So if there's thoughts and feelings going on, and you see thoughts and feelings going on around you, did you ever stop to ask, well, why am I thinking this? Have you ever in your adult life asked yourself at any time, why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this? Right? And that's probably something that happens at least every day for most adults. They might actually stop and go, yeah, why am I thinking about this? Right. That's my point right now in this part of the video where I'm describing the soul, is there is a consciousness that can actually be separate from thoughts itself. And it can cause another thought, which is, why am I thinking about this? But that's the thing, is there was an ability for you to look at the thoughts. Okay, what is that ability? It's consciousness. And by the way, I gotta tell you guys, just so you know, in case you're new to this, the way that I'm approaching describing the three-part triune being right now falls perfectly in alignment with ancient Zen spiritualism. And that's what makes me different as a twin flame coach. Well over 4,000 students at the time of the recording of this video. I'm the world's leading twin flame coach. How did I do it? Number one, my approach is scientific. Number two, I'm not really teaching you anything new or untried. You know, we're not doing like new agey kind of stuff here. And I'm not saying new agey stuff is bad, but that's just not what this is. I don't ask you to focus on metaphysical things or healing or clearing karma or fixing your inner child, which is all the astral body, the mind, emotional, metaphysical. And I'm not saying those things are bad. Those things could be very beneficial to you. But that's not what this is. This is your soul's journey. You and your twin flame are one soul in two bodies. This person is another incarnation of your soul. And that's why everything seems so negative, because you're approaching it through the ego. And the ego, the mind, the personality is duality. It's polarized. The soul is non-duality. It's pure consciousness. It's that ability that you have to see thoughts, and you actually are that ability. You actually are the soul. That's what you are. The mind and the body are just what you have. You take them with you everywhere you go, but there is a you who is taking them with you everywhere. Now, humans live through the ego, through the personality. And that's what Eckhart Tolle has called the human condition. And this is what all the ancient Zen spiritual traditions have taught. This is nothing new that I'm talking about right now at all. This is your soul's journey. This person and you are one soul. So if you are one soul, you just have to do as the soul does. Buddha talks about this. He doesn't talk about twin flames. This is, I'm just talking about like pure being, pure soul, pure Zen, pure spiritualism. Buddha, Jesus, you know, the Dalai Lama, Hare Krishna, Paramahansa Yogananda, Krishnamurti, Eckhart Tolle, John Kabat-Zinn, Charlotte Jacques Beck, these teachers of ancient Zen spiritualism, right? It's soul is what I'm talking about with you right now, okay? So if you want to get your twin flame to start thinking about you, you just have to get out of the modality of ego personality, which is where everybody on earth derives their sense of self from. Like I just said a minute ago, everybody believes they are the personality, right? They derive their sense of self from a thought-based system of self, memories, knowledge that you have, people that you know, places that you've been, abilities that you have, you know, things that you do in your life, these actions and memories, these things, and they're not bad things at all, but that's just what the personality is. I'm not even saying that it's bad, because if I was saying that the personality was bad, that's actually the mind itself judging itself, right? The mind is duality, good, bad. The soul is just acceptance of what is. The soul is just pure presence, pure being, pure consciousness. That's your twin flame at the core. That's where you guys are uniform. That's where you are one with your twin flame. When it comes to the mind, you are totally the opposite, completely polarized, okay? Because the mind is opposites. The mind is duality. That's its function. It's not defective because it's duality. That's what it's for. But that's why they run. That's why they don't want to talk to you. That's why they're not thinking about you. The more that you focus on this person through your mind, you're focusing on the other. There's me and there's them. That's duality, right? There's me and there's them. And I, the personality, am focusing on them. That's what the mind is for. Its job is to exist through the modality of duality, yin and yang, relativity, right? So the more that you focus on them, the more that they're going to focus on anything but you. Listen to that again. The more that you focus on them, mentally, emotionally, metaphysically, the more that they're going to focus on anything but you. You push, they pull away. That's why many of you have struggled with this journey for so long. You may have spent a lot of money on twin flame coaching where they're telling you to focus on this person and send them healing energy and heal your inner child and do all these things. And again, those aren't necessarily bad, but why are you doing those things? You're doing those things to try to get this person to come back. You're so focused on this person. And it's not actually you who is focused on them. It is your mind. It is your ego. It is your personality, which you take with you everywhere. It's what you have. What there is underneath that is the true self. The true you is what has the mind, the ego. You just have to separate yourself from the mind. The true self, the real you, the consciousness. Okay, this is what all of the ancient Zen teachers were talking about. All the ancient Zen teachers that I just named off a few minutes ago. This is exactly what they were talking about. You are not your mind. You are not the thinker. Thoughts and emotions aren't bad, but that's not who you are. And so when you focus on this person through those types of modalities, that actually pushes them away. That's why that stuff isn't working for you. And it's an easy mistake to make because at the beginning it's very romantic and it seems like this is like a really good soulmate connection. Okay, and that explains a lot of the information that you see on the internet about twin flames. But what I'm trying to do is show you that that's where the confusion is. You just need to distill this, okay? You need to distill it down into its purest essence. You are your twin flame at the level of the true self, pure consciousness, pure being, the soul, okay? It's not good or bad. It's just that pure isness, okay? This is why I'm always telling all of my students to read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle or perhaps Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Read those books. Learn about what Zen spiritualism is. Learn about what the soul really is. That's your twin flame. You actually have to get out of the mind, the ego. You get out of that. You transcend it. And that's when your twin flame starts talking to you. They'll call you. They'll text you. And you're also going to experience that intuitive knowing. Okay? The mind is going to continue to doubt the knowing. But the soul is that knowing. That's what the soul is. It's intuition. And it feels like information, right? Like you know they're coming back soon, or you know that you are them. But it's deeper than thought. See, and even I'm having a hard time describing it because it's beyond description. It's not a concept consciousness. The mind is concepts, thoughts, understanding. You can't understand the knowing. That's why there's the doubt. That's why doubt is going on at the same time, because doubt is thought. Doubt is a concept. The mind is saying, I don't understand it, so it invalidates the intuitive knowing. So that's why you have the doubt and the knowing going on at the same time, because you're not just body and mind. You're body, mind, soul. And the intuition is coming from soul, which is your twin flame. They are just you in another body. It's your soul having another experience. And you just have to get out of the ego. So there you go, guys. There's the 5 signs your twin flame is thinking about you. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys later.